Hey everybody, Klaus here from Plant Based News. Now, some of you might remember our last transformations video, which features transformations of a number of athletes and public figures from Rich Roll to Joey Carbstrong. Well, today we're bringing you another transformations video, only this time around we're focusing on everyday people and in some cases, up-and-coming people who've undergone literally amazing transformations on a vegan diet. Let's cut to the chase, and we're gonna get right into it. First up is an ultra-fit plant-based bodybuilder who's branded himself as Mr. Oh Pheeb. Oh Pheeb recently shared a montage to YouTube of the remarkable 20-week transformation he underwent to compete in a bodybuilding competition on a strictly vegan diet. Next on our list is a woman who's had a remarkable journey on a plant-based diet. Not only has Angela Liddon recovered from an eating disorder and healed her relationship with food, but she's also helped take veganism mainstream via her blog.
So I've got to ask you, Angela, your blog, Oshi Glows, gets 4 million visitors a month?
4 million page views a month.
Page views a month, that's insane.
Wow, awesome.
And now you have 2 books. The first one, Oshi Glows, was a New York Times bestseller. And your new one, Oshi Glows Every Day, also New York Times bestseller.
Congratulations.
Another woman not to be overlooked is Olly McDaniels. Olly found herself in her 40s with high blood pressure and a number of other health issues. Unimpressed by the results of modern medicine, she made the switch to a plant-based diet.
We started April the 8th. April the 12th was my doctor's appointment, and I went in there and she took my blood pressure because it had been running like 160 over 104, and it was going up, and they had upped my medication. And then when I started this vegan program, it went down, it was 123 over 78. And she says, oh, I think that the medicine that the doctor gave you is working. I go like, no, it's the food. And it really was the food, you know. I mean, I've been searching for a long time. I spent a lot of money at the health stores. I really did, trying to find out what was good for me. I hadn't had pork in like 38 years, but I was still eating chicken and turkey and fish. And I wasn't doing too well. I was spending all this money on noni juice. I was spending money on spirulina, my calcium pills, all this money I was spending. And all I needed to know was that I needed to eat this plant-based, strong, density, low diet. It was just so simple. I'm going like, wow, I didn't have that one puzzle that was missing. And this is it, you know. I don't see myself going back to ever eating the way that I was eating because of the fact that I'm medicine-free right now. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Next up is Canadian Kate McGoey-Smith, another woman who's undergone a remarkable health transformation as a result of a change in diet. Her story was just so compelling, and it is compelling. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. It's earned her a spot in the local news segment, and that's what we're going to show you.
8 years ago, Kate McGoey-Smith spent her days close to home, struggling with an incurable disease.
Idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension.
Essentially, high blood pressure within Kate's lungs was putting so much pressure on the right side of her heart, it was causing right-sided heart failure. At one point, the illness took her vision, and it almost took her life. But today, McGoey-Smith can see clearly, and she no longer relies on oxygen. Thanks, she says, not to a new drug or therapy, but to how she eats.
Spinach, kale, bok choy, cauliflower.
McGoey-Smith now follows a plant-based diet, free of animal products and oils. She says she was inspired after watching the documentary Forks Over Knives to contact Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, director of the Cardiovascular Prevention and Reversal Program at the Cleveland Clinic.
We take a certain hit or an injury, let's say, every time certain foods pass our lips. And the body is so remarkable, it repairs 90% of that injury.
Esselstyn has been studying plant-based diets for more than 30 years and believes nutrition can dramatically decrease the number of people suffering from all kinds of chronic disease.
The seismic revolution can come about when we in the profession have the will and the grit and the determination to share with the public what is the lifestyle, and most specifically, what is the nutritional literacy that will empower them to destroy chronic illness.
For McGoey-Smith, the results have been life-changing, and although her disease will never be cured, she's happy with her much improved quality of life.
I didn't really get to see my son graduate when he was in high school, but I did for university, and that was pretty thrilling.
In our next spot is Luke Tan, a bodybuilder and someone that has experienced a big transformation both on the outside and the inside. Sick with epilepsy and a number of other ailments as a child, Luke was put on steroids, which resulted in him being borderline obese when he was really, really young. Eventually, through his struggles, he discovered a passion for fitness though. Let's go right to the footage.
So I decided to compete as a natural bodybuilder in 2010. I was pretty surprised because I just wanted to just give my best in that competition, and I placed third for my novice category, which was pretty cool. And the reason why I competed in 2013 was to show the world that I could actually get on stage again as a vegan. And I competed in my third and final bodybuilding competition in 2015, which was with Plant Built in the US in Austin, Texas. And I was just so inspired by these guys, and it was just phenomenal to just kind of stand on stage with them. And that was our form of activism, to show the world that you can be competitive as a vegan strength athlete. I dropped a significant amount of body fat without trying too hard at all, just through following a whole food plant-based diet.
It's also worth noting that Luke didn't just go vegan for his health, but also from a place of compassion.
My wife Emily was initially vegetarian and vegan for health reasons. She had digestive issues, and she was doing a lot of research, and I was just inspired by what she did, and she felt her digestion actually got a lot better since following a plant-based diet. And that kind of sparked my interest. But the penny really dropped for me when a close friend of mine recommended me to watch the film Earthlings. It just, all of a sudden, I was just disgusted at how animals were treated. So after watching that film, when Emily couldn't really watch half the film because it was quite graphic, overnight I said, look, I do not want to contribute to animal cruelty anymore.
Next up is a remarkable story of Amy Resnick, who you might recognise and know from the plant-based documentary What the Health. Let's look at the clips.
My name's Amy Resnick, and I'm from Swampscott, Massachusetts. I am tired when I wake up. I'm tired during the day. I take a nap. I'm still tired.
Through changing her diet, Amy was able to begin a complete transformation of her own health and take control of her life.
I came to True North to help me with my asthma and to lose a little weight, and it's amazing. Just in 2 weeks of changing my diet, I was taking Oxy and Advil, and I was taking 800 milligrams of Motrin 3 times a day just to get through the day because I was in so much pain. And now, nothing. Nothing at all.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Next on the list is Dr. Brooke Goldner, the amazing woman and medical professional who overcame her struggles with lupus on a plant-based diet. She recently appeared on the Home and Family talk show to tell her story.
So Dr. Brooke, you're honestly like a medical phenomenon. Or maybe not, maybe it is just the food, you know? We're all gonna be converts by the end of this. You decided that you were gonna go on this sort of diet to get into your wedding dress. You were suffering with lupus, you had had a stroke, you were told you could never have children. What? So many different medical and health problems, so many issues. You went on this just to get into your wedding dress, and the side effect was that you almost had no symptoms of lupus anymore. Explain this.
Not just almost. So when I was diagnosed at 16, I was already in stage 4 kidney failure. They gave me 6 months to live unless I did chemo for 2 years. So I mean, I'd been sick since I was 16, and by the age of 28, I'd already had multiple TIA in my brain. I didn't know how much longer I had to live. A TIA mini stroke. Okay. In medical school. And so, you know, I didn't know how much longer I had to live, and so I just focused on, well, I'll just make my life mean something. I'll go to medical school, try to help people and see, you know, for whatever life I can live. And when I met a man who actually wanted to marry a sick girl and take care of her, my husband knew that I couldn't have his children, and he wanted to marry me anyway, and said he'd rather spend a short time with me than a lifetime with someone else. And I know, right? And then, that's my husband, yeah. So I changed my diet to this hyper-nourishing plant-based diet, purely to look hot. I was just vanity. Within 3.5 months, I went from a size 11 to a size 3, and I had 0 symptoms of lupus. In fact, I was an intern working 30-hour shifts. I could work 30-hour shifts, then go to the gym, and had 0 arthritis, tons of energy, felt amazing. And went to get my blood test before my wedding, and they were negative for lupus, which is supposed to be impossible.
Wow! Yeah. And not only that, obviously we see from these photos you have two beautiful children, so that was not the case either.
So now it's been actually 12 years since I've had lupus, and I've been completely healthy, able to have children, and easily can maintain low body fat and fitness without really having to work out much.
As we're getting closer to the end of our list, it'll be a shame to overlook Adam Sud, a man who, after hitting rock bottom, completely changed his physical and mental reality through a plant-based diet.
I am a Texan vegan, and I am proud of it. In about 10 months, I lost over 100 pounds, and within a year, I was off of every single medication I was put on in rehab. For the last 5 years or so of my addiction, I was doing 450 milligrams in a 24-hour period. I had been battling suicidal depression for probably 6 months to a year at this point. I have a twin brother who I'm incredibly close with, and during my deepest depression, I can remember telling him that I promise, no matter how bad things will get, I'll never attempt suicide. I'll never commit suicide because I know that I couldn't live without him, and I can only imagine that he would probably not be able to live without me. But that night, things got so bad that I just grabbed a handful of pills on the table and I attempted suicide by overdose. And I had this real surreal realization that my life was going to be my family, my mom and my dad and my twin brother, having to spend the rest of their lives trying to figure out why I needed to eat and drug myself to death. And I decided I wasn't gonna let that happen. And I picked up the phone and I called my dad and I asked for help. And 2 weeks later, I checked into rehab. And when I was in rehab, within the first 48 hours, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, erectile dysfunction, bipolar disorder, suicidal depression, anxiety disorder, sleep disorder, and attention deficit disorder. I was put on a cabinet of medications. The reason I was hearing all this from this doctor was because of the decisions I made of what I chose to put on my plate. I also realized that because it was my fault, I was the solution. All I had to do was change what I put on my plate and my life would get better, and that's what I was dedicated to doing. I knew that if I got sober, I would still be dead in probably 5 years from the chronic disease I was suffering from, so that wouldn't be enough just to get sober. I had to completely transform my life. When I left rehab, it was recommended that I move into a sober living facility. And I checked into sober living, and while I was there, I decided I was going to transition to a plant-based vegan diet. This wasn't easy. I was crying a lot. I'm a 7th generation Texan, and it was football season. This is not when I wanted to be adopting a plant-based diet, but I know that I needed to. Well, within 6 months, my diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol were completely gone. I can remember being in my doctor's office and him saying, "You don't have type 2 diabetes anymore." And I walked out of that office feeling something that I hadn't felt in years, self-worth. And self-worth made me feel like I was worth saving. If I get up every single day and I eat a plant-based diet that is about health and wellness, if I get up every single day and I'm committed to my sobriety and recovery, and if I can get up every single day and be of service to one other person, then at the end of that day, I am a happy, healthy, sober person who is of service to other people, and that is what I want to do with my life. To know that at the end of the day, I can be healthy, happy, and kind, all by the decisions of what I choose to put on my plate, has been the most impactful thing I've ever done in my life. I love the person that I am today. I've never been happier or healthier to get up every single morning and experience life.
In the wake of Adam's total transformation, he's also found himself working with the plant-based health program, Mastering Diabetes, and is able to share what he's learned with others. Next up is Chris Wark, a man who was given a dismal life expectancy by doctors after he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer, but is now happy and healthy and says that a plant-based diet helped him turn things around. And what's really cool about his journey is he's now inspiring others to do the same.
A cancer diagnosis sets off a catastrophic tidal wave of fear, anxiety, and confusion. In one moment, your life story is divided into 2 chapters, before cancer and after cancer. And you would give anything to go back to chapter 1. I was diagnosed with cancer in December 2003. 2 days before Christmas, I was 26, and it felt like a death sentence. From there, it was a whirlwind. I was rushed into surgery, and afterwards, the doctors told me I was worse than they thought. Stage 3C colon cancer. They said I only had a 60% chance of being alive in 5 years, and that I needed 9 to 12 months of chemotherapy. I realized that the way I was living was killing me. I remember thinking, if my body created this, maybe my body can heal it. And then I made the hardest decision of my life, and that was the decision not to do chemotherapy. The oncologist told me I was insane. Most of my family didn't understand. I was very much alone. But I was determined to live. So I started reading and researching like crazy. I removed everything that may have contributed to my cancer. I overdosed on nutrition and did every therapy I could find and afford. I'm alive and well and cancer-free today because of the radical changes I made. I didn't get lucky. I took massive, life-changing action. 6 years after my diagnosis, I started ChrisBeatCancer.com, and immediately people began asking for help. So I started coaching cancer patients one-on-one. But after a few years, the demand got to be way more than I could handle. I decided to take everything I've learned in the last 12 years from my own experience and from all the other survivors I know who've healed naturally and distill it down to a simple, straightforward online coaching program that removes the fear and confusion and overwhelm that cancer patients face and replaces it with hope, clarity, confidence, and an action plan. It's called Square One. This course will take you step by step through the healing process. It will eliminate the fear and confusion and show you exactly where to start and give you a roadmap to radically transform your life and heal. And I'm giving you free access to the entire course, all 10 modules. If you're a patient, a caregiver, or if you're serious about prevention, this course is for you. Square One is where you start. Tune in to watch the entire Square One Healing Cancer Coaching Program free online starting September 12th, 2017. Enter your name and email on this page to receive your free access pass to Square One. Join me and let's start your healing adventure together.
Finally, we have Todd, who went from addict to ultra-endurance athlete. Let's cut to the chase and take a look at a CNN segment which celebrated his transformation.
Everything bad that happened in my life and everything that is now currently good in my life is a direct result of my real mother committing suicide when I was 3.5 years old. When I was growing up, I felt abandoned, I felt angry, depressed. I took my first drink of alcohol at the age of 13. For the next 13 years, I was a full-blown alcoholic, cocaine, heroin, crack. I got my awakening at the age of 26. I received my third drunk driving charge, and that's when I decided to turn my life around. The day I quit, I went cold turkey. Exercise helped me deal with depression or wanting to use drugs again. What made me pursue the Ironman was simply the enormity of it. But I didn't know how to swim, I wasn't a bike rider, and I wasn't running. And then about 6 years into my sobriety, I started doing the Ironman. I have done 28 Ironmans around the world. We want to talk about how awesome it is to be sober. My inspiration for forming Racing for Recovery was simply helping other addicts to show them what can be done when you're not using drugs. I never in a million years thought that I would be alive, let alone doing what I'm doing today. And that's the best message I can deliver to someone who's currently battling addictions.
Todd says he's now vegan for his own health, the environment, and of course, the animals. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe for more videos like this and let me know down below about any vegan transformations that have really inspired you.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching Plant-Based News.
We're super excited to announce PBN Insiders, a new subscription-based platform where you can receive exclusive perks that are not available to the general public.
For less than the price of a sandwich, you'll get access to a whole array of really unique content,
including bonus interview segments, behind the scenes PBN footage, cooking segments, vegan diet guides, and much, much more.
Examples include
an interview of Beyonce's nutritionist Marco Borges about plant-based nutrition, as well as an exclusive feature of Ed Winters, otherwise known as Earthling Ed, about the real backstory of him becoming the vegan activist that he is today.
You also get access to bonus cooking segments from world-leading plant-based chefs.
And today we're going to bring something delicious to you. Let's get cooking.
Extra content will be added throughout the year, and in addition, you'll get early access to events, courses, and giveaways, as well as a 17-minute plant-based meal inspiration video, and along with that, you also get access to a PDF guide with recipes and tips.
As well as behind-the-scenes footage of PBN operations and content, including vegan bodybuilder Nimai Delgado and football freestyler Tom Folan.
You also get to access interview segments with entrepreneurs Russell Simmons and Josh Tetrick.
Speeches including Dr. Anthony Hadge's 40-minute talk about the benefits of a plant-based diet at a private PBN event in London, December 2017.
Rough cuts of our film projects, including early access to a first ever feature-length and end-of-year documentary, Vegan 2018. If you have any questions about what we've talked about today or PBN Insiders in general, please feel free to contact Klaus at plantbasednews.org, and I'd love to connect. Thank you so much for watching.